Well, hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I will be talking about soft power. And I feel like this phrase has been really making a storm in the leadership space, in leadership conversations, and on social media. While soft power for you might feel counterintuitive to productivity or performance, it's actually one of the most underrated skills and leadership philosophies that you can possess. So first, what do I mean by soft power? And soft power really focuses on leadership that is rooted in empathy, intuition, teamwork, collaboration, communication, mindful leadership, rather than force or coercion. Soft power really leans into relationships, connection, and building trust. Often, hustle culture looks through the lens of leadership as go, 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 action orientated. But soft power looks at how are we building up not just processes, but people. It really begs the question, how do people feel under your leadership? Are people inspired when they come to work? Are people feeling seen when they engage with you? As a high achieving woman, you may feel like you need to put on a hard face so that you can be taken seriously, you can be respected, and people are not going to walk all over you. Trust me, I have been there. But soft power is saying this: you don't need to be hard, you just need to be more present in your leadership style. And if we want to look at the research around soft power is often looked at through the lens of servant leadership. And what is servant leadership? Servant leadership is where you as a leader focus on serving your customers and your team to success and to excellence. One study found that actually authoritarian leadership, which many high achieving women are guilty of, it does push performance, but on the other hand, it also results in more employee overwhelm, more employee burnout, more employee coercion and tension within teams. On the other hand, servant leadership, which leans more into soft power characteristics, leads to more team longevity, morale, and people being much happier with their work environment. And guess what? If you've been thinking about whether soft power would play into your likability, studies show that likability increases for those persons that are using soft power through the leadership lens of servant leadership. So not only are you being perceived as more likable, more approachable, but you're also hitting your KPIs that matter for your performance as a leader. And to be honest, I love this research for us. A lot of times we underestimate the power of feminine leadership. We think that that makes us too soft and too weak and we're going to be overlooked by a man. But if you really dig into the studies, you're going to see that there is a wealth of research and factual evidence that demonstrates that soft power is here to stay and it is effective. But we can't just talk about soft power without also talking about strong boundaries. That is so important because a lot of times I see women doing the strong power and the soft boundaries, and this is why they're in leadership positions, but they're being exploited or taken advantage of. Let's flip that. How about you have soft power, but with stronger boundaries, that you no longer walk out on your nose, that you no longer give too many of your yeses, and that you stand firmly in what you believe your sacred boundaries need to be for you to be an effective leader. And something to note is that when you lean into your soft power, there will be some leaders that are going to push back on your decision to be soft. And that means that you really have to exercise your strong boundaries. And strong boundaries doesn't mean that I'm not a team player. Strong boundaries doesn't mean that I no longer want to work with you. Strong boundaries means that to preserve the relationship, I have to effect these boundaries so that I do not carry too much emotional labor in my role of leadership. It's truly saying that I do not need to be the loudest, the most obnoxious, or the most seen to be powerful. I can be the most graceful. I can be the most reflective. I can be the most mindful and still have the highest targets. And why? Because I've leaned into my soft power I've leaned into my strong boundaries, and I no longer lead like a man. I lead like the woman that I was born to be. So now that we understand what exactly is soft power, how do you step into soft power? You might be wondering this, and I want you to know that it's not something that happens overnight. You are looking at someone that used to hate soft power because all I knew was authoritarian leadership. I come from a criminal prosecution background. I come from years of working in a way that was counterintuitive to my own feminine essence. And I had to learn how to take back a lot of my femininity and my grace. And it took time. But what I'm going to share with you today are 3 things that I did that accelerated me into soft power, and I know that it can do the same for you. So the first tip that I want to share with you about leaning into your soft power is to be more soft with yourself, yes, and to be kinder with your mistakes. Fully, if no one has shared this with you, great leadership starts with self-leadership. Great leadership starts with how you treat yourself. And soft power starts with how soft you are with you. High achieving women, we often beat ourselves up for our missteps and our mistakes. But what soft power is really calling forth for is more softness and grace with our misfortunes. It's about taking accountability and owning up for your mistakes and moving forward with positivity, with a grace, with more reasonableness, and with a less self-criticism and judgment for who you are as a human being. The self-judgment, the criticism, it emotionally drains us. And one of the important characteristics of soft power is being very connected to your emotions, not being connected to your mind and to what you know and to strategy, but to your emotions. Are you allowing yourself to feel yourself through your leadership? Are you allowing yourself to comfort yourself when you don't get things right? Are you allowing yourself to be happy, and not just happy because you hit a target, but truly, deeply happy in your body? These are everyday prompts that we can really shift if we decide to commit to a softer relationship with ourselves. On a personal note, one of the biggest lessons I have had to learn in my own journey of leadership is grace. Having grace for myself. Not all the time I'm going to achieve the goal. Not all the time I'm going to hit the target. And how do I treat with myself in the times when I don't? Do I still take myself out for the dessert? Do I still treat myself? Do I still give myself the love and the self-care? Or am I denying myself of these things because of how harshly I'm treating myself? You really have to look at how do you treat yourself in success and how do you treat yourself in failure. That is going to be a really important component for how you move through soft power as a woman in leadership. So the second tip that I have for you that is going to help you lean more into your soft power is to collaborate and celebrate. Not compete, not compare. It's 2 different C's. Collaborate and celebrate. A woman who leans into her soft power is a woman who raises other women up. A woman who celebrates women in their full essence. A woman that is ready to champion other women, to celebrate not just the big wins, but also the small wins. A woman that says, I see you, sis, because I see myself in you. A woman that doesn't create distance, but creates connection because she sees what this woman is going through and the path, and she resonates with it at a core cellular level. Soft leaders know how to build other women up, not tear them down. They know how to build community. They know how to ask for help. They know how to collaborate without comparison or competition. They recognize their contributions as valuable and they see everyone as a value add. You see, a soft power leader understands that by building community and by uplifting other women, it doesn't make her less powerful. It makes her more embodied, more influential, and more magnetic. This is your opportunity to challenge and even recreate the narrative around female leadership as well as female collaboration. Because I know high achieving women, many of us, we struggle with relationships with other women, other powerful women. But what if I told you that there are women just like you looking for you? And the goal is for you to be such a strong and magnetic signal for these women that you become easy for them to find you. So lean into that desire of wanting to learn more, wanting to build more, and wanting to commune more with other people. And you'll see a lot of your ego, a lot of your posturing is going to be put to the side because now you've created space not just for yourself, but you've created space for others. And last but not least, integrate competence with warmth. Yes, you can be a genius, you can be an intellect, you can be really high performing, but that doesn't mean that you need to be snobby. That doesn't mean that you need to be rude, arrogant, obnoxious. It doesn't go hand in hand. You are too brilliant for this behavioral disposition. We purposely commit to becoming more approachable and more accessible. I think a lot of times women have that type of snobbish attitude and that kind of obnoxiousness around their personality or their brand or their authority because they do not want people to access them. I like to call this that celebrity complex, right? There is so much of opportunity that you are missing out on because of that posturing, because of the way that you've positioned yourself. But the day that you decide to shift that through more warmth and more receptivity by bringing those walls down and allowing yourself to not just be seen by who you are and by your roles and your titles and your the number of followers that you have, but to be seen at a heart depth, to be seen from a place of values, you really start to become someone that people want to work with, people want to build sustainable relationships with, and people want to access, not just because they want something from you, but they actually want to build a relationship with you. And that's the whole point of soft power. Remember, if we go back to the research, if we go back to the studies, it shows that when women lean into their soft power, they have more longer term relationships. They have more loyalty from their team. They have more incentivized plans and actions coming from their team because their team wants to work with them. So when people see that you are skilled, you are decisive, you have strategic precision, but that is also integrated with warmth, receptivity, accessibility, and depth, you become so magnetic and so unforgettable as a woman in leadership. This is really when your reputation precedes you in a positive way. This is when doors start opening for you without you having to knock on it. And I love when we start to talk about that because ultimately, that is what we really want to achieve. And that's what I teach in my coaching signature program, Beyond the Peak. How to become a magnetic leader, and not just from a place of soft power, but also from a place of rooted authority. And I want to share this. Since moving to the US, this is one of the compliments that I have been getting since being in this market. And the compliment is, you are so warm and personable, Dr. Shelly-Ann. Like, you are so down to earth. A woman of your stature, of your educational level, is very hard to access people at your level. And it's just so refreshing to experience you. And y'all, that warms my heart so much because I think leadership is about accessibility. Leadership is about example and modeling behavior. Leadership is about being a walking testimony so that people can not just see your leadership, but they can also feel that you genuinely care and that you are invested. I've really been leaning into that compliment because I would be lying if I told you that I didn't feel a little uncomfortable when I came here. Like, when I first came here, I realized that the leadership space was very much dominant in masculine energy. And that's not who I am. That's not how I present. That's not how I show up. That's not how I influence. And so it really became clear that that was what was unique to my path and unique to my own coaching philosophy and how I show up in this world. And so I want you, if this really resonates with you, I want you to lean into your soft power, because I do feel like the world needs more of that. Your market might probably need more of that. Your organization might need to see more of that softness in the way we treat with people and in the way we treat with our KPIs. And I can say that since leading into my soft power more, I have seen so much more ease and grace in how I show up and in the work that I do. And even my clients notice it. They'll probably notice it too. But trust me, it is worth going down this path. So with that said, I do hope that this video was helpful to you, that you feel inspired in some way to lean into your soft power, that you recognize that when you move into soft power, you really start to let go of that overwork. You really start to let go of that doing energy, and you now move more into feeling and into being and into presence, which I love for you as a brilliant woman. If you want to work more on this, then I absolutely suggest that you book in for a coaching alignment call with me and you consider one-to-one coaching with me. I would love to hear more about your leadership journey, what you are trying to achieve either in your career or your business. And just remember, a successful woman can be recognized by her leadership style. So I look forward to seeing you in another video. As I always say, you are light. You are so much of love, and you are destined for greatness. Thank you so much for joining this video. See you in another one. Much love. Bye.